LNG Take 1, Episode 1, Season 1, Pilot.
Pilot.
Pilot. Alright. So today we're working on a thermal arc firepower FP165, and we're going to be spooling this thing up. Take a look inside real quick. We were working on a project the other day. We ran out of wire, so we went down the road, picked up some wire from the local store. We're going to respool this welder. The purpose of respooling the welder is we have to fix our new cradle we made. We put some casters on it, and they're not holding up to the weight, so we're going to replace the casters, and that way it'll hold the weight of our late model project. And we're going to be keeping you guys in the mix of things as we move forward with the dirt late model project, as we update it to 2020 specs. And we're going to get spooling up on this thermal arc welder here, so that way we can get moving forward with our project. Alright. We've got some Hobart 30 thousandths inch MIG solid wire picked up from the local farm supply store down the road. We're going to be replacing that. We'll remove the tension nut, set it off to the side. We're going to pull a little exterior spool nut off. We're going to go ahead and remove the old spool. This is what we were using. It's just the older label, same brand and everything, just the newer packaging there. Alright, so once we've got that going on, we have to go ahead and we have to remove the old wire from the lead end here. So we're going to remove our tip. Sometimes it's easier to go ahead and remove the entire tip off the line here.
We've got some new ones.
We might go ahead and put a new tip on there while we're at it here. We'll pull out the old line, and that way it'll be set up here to get primed in. Set that down. Covers here.
So I think they're hanging on the wall over there. Let me out.
30 thousandths. In the head here. It sure does.
Probably need to get this thing plugged in, huh?
What's that?
The welder to have that.
Not yet, not yet. Well, let me finish this before we plug it in. Alright, so we've got a new tip. We're going to make sure our end's all cleaned up, looking good. Shine it up. Get any crusties off of it. Make sure that's all clean. And before we plug it in, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get it pre-spooled up here. That way we don't have to do too much of the dangerous stuff while it's plugged in. We're going to put our line on here. Our MIG wire, 30 thousandths. It's important that this spools off in the correct direction, that the wire comes up off and this way, so that way it can feed it in. You gotta
Kind of stuck in there a little
it
bit.
sure is. Alright, here we go. There we go. Then we got to trim it off so it's nice and clean. Alright, Make sure it doesn't backlash on you. It's important. Okay, so we got to make sure it feeds off in this direction, not this way. Wire feeds off this way. That's important. All right, go ahead and feed our spool up into here. We'll put our nut. We're going to make sure that seats back all the way. That's important. You want to get it hot halfway in there. It's got to go in all the way like that. And then we're going to put our tension spring on there. And we're just going to leave it loose for right now. Next step is we've got to pre-feed the line through the roller and the tensioner. Again, this one here is not very tight. We just have to unloosen it enough to bring that down like that. That allows this to slide up. So we can see our roller feed right here. And we're going to feed the wire through this little piping here and down into this end right here, which is what feeds it down through the line here. So again, we're going to do this in a process that doesn't backlash the whole spool of wire or get it into a bind. So we're going to pre-feed this. And then this is the tricky part, is getting this to line up just right with that hole. Sometimes you can use a little piece of MIG wire to help you guide it in there. Maybe. Let's try this way. Almost. There we go. Just like that. Keep in mind, I'm trying to make sure I'm not back feeding this whole thing. And then I'm just going to manual feed this wire through here so I've got all the slack up. And then I'm going to back off here, pull this out some, and I'm going to finish feeding it the rest of the way till it comes out through the end here. You're only pushing the wire through a few inches at a time, so it feels like it takes a long time to fill up our 6 or 8 foot lead we got here.
Oh, I'll feel it.
There it is. Pops out right there through the top. We're going to give ourselves a little slack. We're going to push this back in here. We're going to make sure this is all seated. We'll roll a little back tension on it there. Put our set screw back in here. Make sure that looks good, no problems there. Really important that you make sure that the wire is laying in the groove right here. Very, very important. The wire lays in the groove. And we're going to close that back down and push that latch back up, and we're going to apply some tension here, but we only need enough tension to make it feed the wire. We don't want any more than that. This is all plastic parts, so it doesn't take a lot of tension to really get it going. So I'm just doing just 2 fingers here, and once it begins to feel like it's got some friction, I'm just going to stop right there. And at this point we can go ahead and install our new tip. So we got our new tip right here, 30 thousandths. Figure a new spool of wire, get a new tip on there. We just slide him on through, tighten him down. Snug him up a little bit. Make sure our end nozzle piece is clean. It's clean enough. I could use a little bit of loving.
That's everything.
Snug this back down. There we go. All right, and we're ready to plug her in and see if she works. Alright, so we got the welder all plugged in. Gonna go ahead and turn it on here. We're gonna test feed our spool, make sure our tension looks good. Before I do this, I'm gonna turn the power all the way down and keep my wire speed at about 50%. I'm gonna kick the welder on, making sure I keep my hands not in there. And then we're gonna hit the button. Make sure my ground is away from everything. It looks like it's feeding through just like it's supposed to. It's good. Turn the speed up a little bit, see what happens there. Oh yeah, she's screaming now. Alright, it looks like it's working good. We're going to go ahead and turn that back off. Doesn't seem like we need to have any. Double check my tension here. Maybe just add just a little bit more to it. Close my lid down here. Alright, I'll trim my welding wire off. Alright, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this thing fired up here. My gauge is on, get a little bit closer, hopefully you can see them a little bit better. See where we're at here, listen for any leaks. Don't hear any leaks. Looks like we're running right about 1500 psi in the tank, and our line is set up at about 20 psi. It's probably a little hot in the line. We were welding outside, so we turned the gas up. Just gonna purge the air line real quick and make sure we get any impure air out of the system. And now that we've got the welding gas all hooked up, got the power on, we got to get our project set up so we can get some new casters welded onto our new cradle for our late model.